I'm Steve Rao, the host of Roku and Pod TV's World Politics. We welcome you from wherever you are around in the United States of America and around the world for our wonderful, lively show where we talk about world politics. Get out your popcorn because things are getting very exciting. But on a more serious note, I wanted a chance today to say we pray for the situation in Israel and Palestine. Hamas freed two elderly Israeli women today taken hostage during its attack on Israel on October 17th. The Red Cross said it facilitated the release. It's holding more than 200 people in Gaza, according to the Israel Defense Forces. Meanwhile, Israel's military has intensified airstrikes on Gaza, saying it's preparing unrelenting attacks to topple Hamas. But in the midst of this war and terror, many Palestinians are also dying, many of them children. Iran has asked China and Russia to veto any UN Security Council resolution that would support Israel's right to defend itself from Hamas. Ibrahim Raisi, Iran's president, told Sergei Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, that as freedom seekers, they must prevent the materialization of America's intentions. And Wang Yi, China's foreign minister, will visit Washington on Thursday to meet Secretary of State Antony Blinken. American officials say the three-day trip is part of ongoing efforts to maintain open channels of communication, although recently a 60 Minutes show pretty much accused the Chinese government of crossing protocols of espionage and basically stealing from America, and everyone is on high alert, many American companies. China's leader and President Biden expect to meet next month and at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation event. And finally, the United Auto Workers significantly expanded strike against Ford with 6,800 workers walking out of Stellantis, the largest assembly plant, on Monday. More than 40,000 union members, 27% of the car maker's total workforce, have now downed tools. And this is a crazy situation. Those are some of the highlights. Of course, there's other things going on in the world. But before I open it up to my panel, I just want to say that the question, and finally, I forgot to mention, while all of this is going on, war in Ukraine, war in the Middle East, we have no Speaker of the House, and they're still trying to figure out whether Speaker Pro Tem McHenry, who is from our state of North Carolina, where Mark Lee and I live, and Kim and Nick, we do not know what is going to happen. So my theme today, before I bring in, is America. My question to the audience is: the United States of America a dysfunctional superpower with no effective Congress that can pass laws that can provide aid to Iran, to Israel and to Ukraine, to the tune of $100 billion, with a country so polarized and divided, and in the midst of it all, a world that is very divided, and autocracies making their claim to power. President Biden challenging the American people that's democracies versus autocracies, but it's complicated the world order. And so that's sort of setting the stage today for our discussion and what can change and how we change it, or is just the new normal and we have to get used to it. So with that being said, I want to bring in our esteemed panel. Mark Lee, who I think is joining, Kimberly Calhoun, the founder of our network. We have Sasha Starr, our expert on Ukraine, and Nick Paladiva as well, the founder of Pod TV. Welcome to the show, folks. I've got 26 minutes before I go do work of people at City Hall, but my double cappuccino is kicked in, and I'm ready to rumble for about 25 minutes. Although I miss Lamparello. I wish we had him on here, so someone give him a call.
I'll harass him. I got something I want to say about this war and everything that's going on, and I delved into a little bit of fun history when I was in New Bern and Beaufort over the weekend for a wedding. And one of the things that happened many years ago, I'm wondering, why don't our leaders just do this, a duel, right? Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr did this. And of course, we know who died. But instead of killing millions and thousands of innocent people or constantly battling for thousands of years, killing children and women and, just driving people to hate, why not just duel it out between two grown men? That, to me, is more courageous than sending the innocent people out to fight your battles for you. I mean, I'm not really saying this in fun either. I really think that should be what
I think, and speaking of battles, drones. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole idea of dueling. But I think when I say a dysfunctional superpower, I think, it's just nothing seems to be working right now. We can't get the legislature down. We've got, in North Carolina, what's
We've
interesting, and
always had a
I'm going to be
dysfunctional superpower. If you look at two of our leaders dueled years ago, I mean, we've never had a functional power as long as we've been divided. We've been divided between two people, and that's what keeps us down. We need no labels in there. We need people who are there for the people, not there for the party. I mean, come on, let's talk about this. Isn't that why Matthew was brought out of his position? Because he didn't do anything for his party. I mean, that's not his position as speaker. His position as speaker is for the people or for the Senate itself. You have to set aside your party. So I think our dysfunction, and yes, we are very dysfunctional. We have no real
we're
leadership. We
dysfunctional.
haven't had it, and we haven't had real leadership in 20 years.
And
Well,
I
maybe
think part of the
David
problem,
Walker
and I'm
should
going
write
to
a new.
go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, and then I want to hear from Sasha. What is it?
You gave David Walker a new book. He could say America 2040, still a dysfunctional superpower. Okay, no, just change
He changes
headline.
the title.
I think, yeah.
I guess since you're close to the politics, you see that, Steve. I think what happens is the parties to raise money create a lot of the dysfunction. In other words, it's not like if you talk to the average American, they're not into all this stuff. And I'm talking about the vast majority. Obviously, you have your wingnuts on both sides, but then you have the vast majority, and they're not into this crazy dysfunction that exists. Unfortunately, the dysfunctional people get all the attention, the press, and frankly, a lot of the money. Look at Donald Trump, one of the most dysfunctional human beings ever to walk the planet. But because of that, he raises a lot of money for his election. So what you see is that it tends to gravitate. There was a whole list of people that came. They were in front of the TV set for a while. They're the adults in the room, and the media quickly got rid of them because they weren't interesting. Instead, they brought in Marjorie Taylor Greene or who's that other Taleb or some of the wingnuts on every party. Who's the other one that they've got? But they bring those people in because they're more interesting than for the media than the adults in the room. So adults are being shuffled aside, and the children are running the prisoners are running the asylum up there. In the meantime, dude, Republican Party, you've got to get a leader. Hello, just wake up. But anyway, that's their problem.
Well,
it's going to be our problem.
I want to hear, Sasha, I want to get your opinion. In terms of, you're an immigrant. You're from Ukraine. You live in Canada now. Do you think the world is looking at the United States now just as like what is going on? When Joe Biden says he said that in his address, we're the United States of America, which by the way, I think the president did do well in his address. I think he was the most presidential, in my opinion, that he's looked at. It looked his entire presidency, and perhaps a crisis has enabled him to be stronger. But do you think that we look weak to others? Are we looking dysfunctional to Canada? Or,
it's not important how US looks from Canadian point of view, not at all. What's important is that I urge many people, as well as here on the shows, to read at least 2 and most people 3 times the article of Robert Gates published in Foreign Affairs. And what I've noticed now, that American elite is really getting into it and regard this article as their next program of what to do. America is, at least it was superpower for many years, obviously. It's still now. It is now. There's no doubts about that. But there are too many headwinds. And one of them is international problems headed by Russia and followed by Iran and other creatures. America, on international front, America has to show who is the boss in this world. There is no other way to say we live in multinational and globalist and this and that, and all people are happy and all people love each other. That nonsense has to be gone. There is people who respect, most of the people respect power only. They don't understand anything else. Power, yes. Biden did one very clever thing. He sent the U.S. Carriers to Mediterranean, to Israel. Now it's time to use them. Now, on the domestic fronts, there is a huge proliferation of left groups who spend their time to publish all kind of propaganda against U.S. society, all kind of lies, supporting all the nonsense like, for example, the Palestinian chant is, "We want our land from river to the sea." What that means? It's a horrible anti-Semitic chant which obviously appeals to many people. So river is a Jordan River and sea is a Mediterranean Sea. If there is a Palestine from river to the sea, there is no place for Israel. There are no place for Jews. So the Israel has to be eradicated and all Jews have to be dealt with, which Hitler shows how to do it. The Holocaust #2, okay?
Oh.
But I must assure you,
So,
that
Sasha,
it's not going to happen, period. But what Palestinians really want, they don't need two-state solutions. They need one-state solution, and that is a Palestinian
Yeah.
state.
Well, let's go to Adam Lemon.
Terrorist organization, and you have to start every talk about Israel and all what's happening there. Number one, it's a terrorist organization. Actually, I've heard even interview with the son of the founder of Hamas on CNN just a couple of days ago, and he lives now in the United States, he urged you have to eradicate Hamas. There will be never, ever peace in the Middle East while Hamas exists. Just go in, defeat, kill all Hamas, and then something may happen. Maybe not, but at least there will be some seeds of what could be done there while Hamas.
You know, Sasha, when people are in a battle or at war, when people win a battle or something, you're going to hear that side cheer. Just like you probably cheer when you see the people you're not polling for lose. You're going to cheer for the side that you're polling for. The thing is I personally don't really, I wish they would just settle it. Again, like I said, they should just go out and duel this out as two leaders and not involve the innocent people. But what should have happened was just like Richard said today, and he is from Israel. His children are being dragged into this war. And he stated that they should just go ahead and make two states there and end it all. And it would end it. And he knows it. Most of the Israelis know it.
Right.
They have not been reporting all of the BS that has been going over there, because if it helps the Palestinians, they're not going to report it. And we have proven this time again with that chart that I have, where it shows that Israel has
show this chart, and I will tell you what a lie it is. Show this chart one more time. I'll tell you point by point what kind of a lie it is. It's
not a lie. What the UN
is a
reported
lie
is not a
because
lie.
it shows like killed and wounded people.
Here we
You
go
know
again.
how many?
So what Richard
Please,
said is a lie. He lives there. Do you live there? Are you?
Yes,
living
I've been
in
there
that
many
hill?
times, and I
Are
know
you- is
more
your
about
children
Israel
being
than
dragged
this
into it?
Richard that you're quoting over and over and over again. This Richard doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, he does not. Now remember
He
that.
lives there.
I
He's
don't
a grandfather, just like
I
you
don't
did.
care where he lives. He knows nothing about. Bring all your experts there. They don't know nothing what they're talking about.
He's
Okay?
living
They're
Adam,
uneducated liars. That's all what they are. Okay? Now,
Thank
you
God.
want to
for
living
change
the
like
point
you
that
are not.
Tim was trying to
You
make.
are
Okay,
not
Richard
living
actually
you want to
exactly
show the
Richard
chart.
and all along those lines. I don't have
Excuse
the
me.
stats, but I'll bring the stats. Richard was actually Thank God for a Russia. person involved in the vegan
Yeah,
movement and
I
other movements.
know
But as
all
Tim
that.
said,
I
he does
know.
live in
No,
Israel. He has
I
actually
know.
been talking about some of the
It doesn't matter
activism that
where
is
he
going on.
lives.
He was on the World
It
Edition
matters
earlier
what
today,
he knows
so he
about the
definitely brought his
subject.
viewpoint
He
and
proved
everything.
to me today that he doesn't know. Furthermore, he doesn't even understand the subject. He doesn't understand what he's talking about.
Who are you
Period.
talking about?
That's all what there is to it. I have many friends who live in Israel, and I know what they really think about what's happening there. It's a tragedy. Now, look at this chart. So let's see 2018, 31,500 Palestinians, according to this chart, had injuries. Injuries from what?
And killed. Fatalities.
No.
500 children were killed,
31,500.
Sasha,
In
and
the
I don't
year
know
of
where you find
2018,
that.
they were injured. 31,500. Injuries from what?
These
What
are
they
from
put this
Israel.
number for?
From Israel attacks. These
No,
are
where does it say that it
Bombs,
was?
gunshots,
Come on.
Yeah.
assaults,
No, it doesn't
stabbings,
show that.
occupation. I'm just saying.
hostages,
No. Gaza was
torture.
not occupied by 2018. Israel left
That's
Gaza
true.
in
That is true.
2005. So why are you bringing this stupid nonsense and waving it? Look at that.
I'll
Because
tell you
it's
why
from the
I'm bringing it
UN
Have a
up.
and it's
little
Wait, let me
brain
talk.
for a change.
You sound like Richard.
Richard.
Richard, where is Richard?
That was the one that Kimberly brought up about the one who
Bring
lives
it here, Richard.
No, Richard was just talking about all of the things that were going on in Israel. And he doesn't think that they're in the complete right in all of this to begin with. And I agree with him. And he's from there. His children are being dragged into the war as well, which I'm sure he's not happy about. But they never even talked about all the times that their people went to the streets petitioning the government to do what is right. And their government hasn't been doing it. And he's not for this war. He was against the fact that they sent out a 24-hour notice for, Gaza to get their crap together and move out of their homes. I mean, what would you do if you were told you got 24 hours, Sasha, to get your family and your life out of your home?
The situation is very
What would
simple.
you say?
By the
What
way,
would you do?
no, here's what I say. Here's what I say. Listen to me.
What would you
Listen
say?
to me now.
What
I would say, you're crying about, you don't have water. You don't. No, listen, I'm talking now. So
I think they should just get 2 guns and duel it out.
there is a cry. They don't have water, they don't have food, they don't have medicine, and so on. But they have missiles to continue to fire on Israel every single
when you're a victim of domestic violence and somebody gives you money, usually you go stock up on things to protect yourself and retaliate. You don't go get the medicine.
This is the way how you want to help your civilians continue to bomb Israel. Is that the way how you protect your civilians? No, you start with releasing all hostages. Number one, all hostages.
Hold on a second.
When did they take hostages?
I think Adam has a point that he wanted to make. Hold on a second, Sasha.
Unconditionally all hostages. You get that or you don't understand what I'm talking about?
No, Sasha, hold on a second. I think Adam had a point he wanted to make, and definitely accepting it to do some moderating, even though, like I told y'all earlier, I'm actually on my way elsewhere and everything. But Adam, definitely want to hear from you. Sasha, if you get a chance at some point, to Kim's point, we have definitely heard you say several times that you are, for lack of a better term, happy when the Ukrainians step back and push back and win and have casualties against the Russians who have invaded them. How do you think that in some people's minds that is not different from the way that the Palestinians feel about Israel? Because there are some people who say that there is a parallel.
I never said that. Sasha said that. I never
Russia, much bigger and stronger country, attacked absolutely with no reason Ukraine. So Ukraine, instead of just give up, okay, we're sorry, okay, take us over. So Ukraine decided to fight. And in fact, thanks to United States and NATO, they became very successful at what they're doing. They are now have much better artillery than Russians. They are killing now every single day at least 1,000 Russian occupiers.
How tragic.
Israel-
That's
now-
tragic.
That's
It's
the
not
question
that
I'm
they're
asking
killing
you
Russians.
is, what is the
outrage
difference
at the
between that
killing of the
and a
Russians
Palestinian wanting to
that you
stand
see
up
at the
against
killing of
somebody
the
that he
Israelis
feels is
out there.
oppressing him?
Children.
Did
Children are
on,
being killed.
did on October 7th, Israel...
October
Dare they
7th is
kill
totally
Russians?
irrelevant. That
Hamas?
is a
Oh,
terrorist
you
attack.
tell
Y'all
me
agree that that's
that.
a terrorist attack,
No,
and then
No,
Hamas is wrong. I'm talking about the Palestinian
Okay.
situation
On
with
October
Israel and the
6th,
Ukrainian
there was
situation.
no
with
war.
the
Genocide of the Russians.
Hold on. On October 6th, there was no
Once
war.
I gotta leave. Have a great show.
There
See you on
was
Thursday. I
or
set the
whatever.
stage. I
war.
set the
On
table.
October
Thank you.
7th, Hamas started
Steve.
the war against Israel. So now Israel has to do anything to protect itself and its citizens. This is the goal of a government of any country. Forget about Israel. Any country. If Mexico would attack United States, take hostages or so on, what do you think U.S. would do? That's the same thing what Hamas did against Israel, a peaceful country that only wanted to have a peace. Now, what the history of a peace in this Israel and Palestine? In 1948, there was a decision by United Nations, okay, here is a land for Jews, here is a land for Arabs, thank you, go and build your countries. Same year in 1948, 5 Arab countries attacked Israel. Lost, okay, 56. Another Arab wave against Israel, fight, war, lost. Now, 67, 6 days war, lost. Now, I remember one thing is that by that time, by 67, all this supposedly a Palestinian territory was taken over by Egypt and Jordan. So from at that point, shortly before 6 days war, there was no Palestine territory even to speak of. It was Israel in its territory. It was Jordan, which became much bigger, and there was Egypt that became bigger. Now, 6 days war, lost. But this time, Israel took over control of both West Bank and the Gaza Strip. 73, Yom Kippur War, attack Syria, Egypt. 18 days later, lost. Okay, but this time was different. Sorry, I didn't finish. So this time was different. Egypt recognized right of Israel to exist. Same Jordan did a couple of years later. And since then, now 2023, there are no wars between Egypt and Israel, between Jordan and Israel. Here comes Hamas. Hamas saying it's Palestine from the river to the sea. There is no place for Israel. There is no place for Jewish people. On October 7th, they start incredible attacks, second to none in the history of humankind. There was ever, even IGIL, it's nothing compared to what they did. Now you want sympathy to Palestinians. Oh, they're suffering. Oh, really? Oh, my God, I'm going to cry. They're suffering. Oh, my God. Go to, if you feel together with Palestinians, go to Palestinian capitals or Arabs' capital or Muslim capitals and chant Palestine from land to sea, from river to sea, so on. Dance. Palestinians were dancing on the streets of Gaza when the murderers brought their captives.
When
They
you
were
win.
praying, they were dancing and screaming and shouting. Oh, now they are learning something. It's a war. Do you remember Second World War? Do you remember what happened in Dresden? Do you remember what's happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? That's a war. It's a full-scale war. And the son of the founder of Hamas, he begs Israelis to destroy Hamas. There will be never, ever peace while Hamas is there. So Hamas has to immediately Hamas must immediately to release all hostages. And
All right.
that
Well, I
would
think
be
it's Adam's turn
Yeah,
to
it's Adam's
address.
term and everything. So Adam,
But let's
before we
talk
Wait a
get ready
about.
to
moment, I want to
slide away,
understand
is
something.
Adam got
Here I
something?
have see 3 American, Kiev, Mark, and Adam. Are you against Hamas releasing all hostages?
I'm not
Everybody just
against
said that Hamas is
releasing
a terrorist
hostages.
organization and that Hamas needs to be
I'm
eliminated.
not
I think
against
everybody
it.
said that.
Nobody said that. But Adam, what's your thoughts?
Well, yeah, just briefly. So I think we have to look at this conversation in a practical way and in terms of what would be productive. So I think most reasonable people would say what Hamas did was barbaric, despicable, inexcusable. And I think our thoughts and prayers certainly are with the people who died, who were tortured, who died as families. It was horrific. No one disputes that. But when you take a broader view of this situation, both parties do bear some responsibility. And that does not mean that what Hamas did was justified. Of course not. But both parties, over the course of history, do bear some responsibility. So that brings us to the question of what are we going to do about it? Israel is not going to be eliminated. Palestinians are not going to be wiped off the map. They have to live together. So our focus should be on what can we do to bring peace to the Middle East? Instead of
Right.
taking sides and vilifying one side over the other, what
Thank
can
you.
we do to save lives and bring peace to the Middle East? And for me, that means a Palestinian state. It means the marginalization of Hamas, and it means respect for Israel's right to exist and for its people to coexist with the Palestinians. We have to be thinking about next steps. How can we make this situation better instead of saying one side is bad and one side is good? That doesn't solve any problems. We have to solve the problem. I think it's a Palestinian state, the right to recognize Israel, the marginalization of Hamas. Now, as far as Russia goes, we also extend our sympathies to the 1,000 Russians who are dying each day. I know Sasha, Mark, and Kimberly will join me in that because what we're ultimately wanting to do here is create a place where diverse populations, different people of different backgrounds can coexist and be respected with equal dignity and equal protection under the law.
Hey, Adam, just really quickly before I get ready to depart, and all along those lines, because I've got to depart early this time and everything. But what do you think about the expansion of the war? I think Sasha kind of alluded to it, but I did hear that there were some attacks, and yes, Hamas has had some bases in Syria. There have been attacks in Lebanon. So is that also something that you, as a future political leader, are concerned about? Because it's not just confined to Israel and Palestine. It looks like it might be broadening, because I did hear there were some attacks to Syria and other parts of the Middle East as well. So it is, as a future president, because we do know you're running for president very shortly, is this a topic that you are concerned about? Is that expansion of the conflict within the Middle East?
I'm very concerned about it. I'm concerned about Iran. I'm concerned about their funding of Hamas, and I'm concerned this could lead to a wider global conflict. But at the end of the day, we need to think, how do we solve this problem?
Yep.
And to do that, we need great leaders. We need people who are going to compromise. We need people who are going to realize it's not an us against them mentality. It's how can we all live together mentality. The Palestinians
I agree in that aspect that we need to learn how to unite the people and how to build the nation. So, and the two states is a brilliant idea. There are too many people dying unnecessarily I know, Nick,
morality is often the biggest obstacle.
You guys don't get it. I mean, the thing is, look, October 7th took place, okay? It's not time to reward the bad children with bad behavior. What's time for and what will happen is Israel will invade the Gaza Strip. You need to get the bloody out of there, and they're going to get Hamas out of there, and that is justice. To sit there and say now that they destroyed and they committed terrorist acts, let's go ahead and appease them with a Palestinian state. I say this to them because you
have no interest in solving the problem.
No. They asked for this. They asked for this, as they say in wrestling. You wanted this, okay? Remember what Reacher said. Tom Cruise, when he was Reacher, goes, just remember, you wanted this. So Hamas and the people of Gaza have to remember this. You wanted this. So
Not
now
all the
you get
Palestinians
it.
wanted
No matter
that.
what you guys say,
Nick,
Israel will invade the
They
Gaza
were
Strip.
taken over by
Israel
Hamas.
will get blood. Innocent people will die because they think that they're going to get their way, and they won't.
and that's a very
Yeah.
short-sighted solution, because
It's
imagine if
called
I came to your house right now and I said, you know what, Nick? This is a beautiful home. And I take out my AR-15 and I say, get out. I'm taking over your house. You're displaced.
Dude,
You act like October 7th
that's what I'm
existed in a
saying.
vacuum.
I parked out in your
It didn't.
house, okay, and I slaughtered your friends, and then I come to you, Adam, and say, "Let's make peace, Mak Shalom." Guess what you're gonna say? Not yet.
You
buddy.
don't think Israelis have done the same thing in different contexts?
I'm
Yes,
just-
they
I'm-
have.
Hey, look. You know, I'm not going back 2,000 years. I'm going back what happened like 2 weeks ago.
Well, then let's move ahead
And
2,000
I
years.
will
We need
tell you
peace.
this.
Palestinian
I will tell
state,
you this.
Israelis' right to exist, marginalization of Hamas.
Netanyahu has
Adam.
a very short memory. Okay?
Sorry,
He
this
remembers what happens like we do on October the 7th. And let me tell you what's going to happen this week or next week at the latest. They're going to invade Gaza. And I've listened to some of these Palestinians. Oh, I can't leave. I'll die here. Then you're right. You can't leave and you will die there because Hamas is embedded in your state. And that ain't going to happen anymore, buddy. That ain't going to happen.
Nick,
So
why
this
don't
is an
why
election
don't
or
they
not,
behave
it doesn't
like
matter.
we did
Bless
when
the
we went after
peacemakers.
Obama? I mean,
Bless the
Osama.
peacemakers.
So what's your
I'll tell you
solution?
Go on, Adam.
Nick?
Back in your
It's not
academic chair
practical.
at
It's
Georgia
not
College and go,
practical.
well,
Yeah.
Why
everybody.
don't we just go after?
No.
Why can't we go after the terrorists?
Because
alone?
the
Why-
problem
why do
is
we
that-
have
I'll
to-
tell you one thing.
But 1 second. The
I'll
problem
tell
is
you.
that you guys don't realize that
Okay.
moral absolutism is the biggest obstacle to peace. We have to stop thinking in terms of good
Hey,
and
go
evil
debate that in
and
the
start
halls of
thinking in
Georgia
terms of
Adam.
what's practical. They have
Adam.
to live together. What's
Adam,
the way they're going to do
No,
that?
absolutely
In a
not.
Palestinian state.
No, this piece of land is too small to live together. It was in 1948, it was possible.
Well, we're
But
not
then
going
5
to
years later,
eliminate the
attempts of Palestinians
Palestinians.
to eliminate Israel, it's gone, done. There will be no Palestinian state, period. They will
Forget
have to
it.
go to Saudi Arabia, to Egypt, to Jordan, to just
Yeah,
wherever.
What's your
Nobody
solution?
wants them.
What's your
It's-
solution?
It's
They've
apparent
lost. They've
no
lost
Arab country wants them
because of
there.
this act.
That's
They
the
have lost the
What
Gaza
is your
Strip
solution?
permanently.
You guys
Out.
don't have a solution.
Out. Solution
don't
is
have a
out.
You do. You
Period.
wipe out.
Out.
Killing more
Out of
This
Palestine.
is part-
All
killing-
Hamas,
listen,
Palestinians
so
out.
you-
I am
That's
not
the
going
Natasha,
to
you
drive.
think
I don't
there should be
care.
a genocide
I don't
against
care.
us?
That is
Out.
genocide. That is
Thank you.
disgusting,
Out.
and I
That's
will never support
genocide.
that.
What
No,
you
I
want
don't
is
need
It
your
doesn't matter what
genocide.
you support. You don't
Keep
have
your
a vote.
support in your doors, okay? I
Okay,
don't
no,
need
you
want
go back to
genocide.
Georgia
I
College
want-
and tell everybody peace,
Why
baby.
can't we just go kill the
I didn't
terrorists
say
themselves,
appeasement. I
like
said
we
practical
did?
solution.
No, they
Osama
will.
bin
They
They
will
Laden.
be killed.
they
They
asked-
will be killed.
Okay,
You're
it's
right.
just like this. It's real
They will
simple.
be killed.
If
Now,
you're not
the-
a terrorist, leave the Gaza Strip. If you're a terrorist, stay and watch.
How do
You're
you
gonna
define a
get
terrorist?
There
What
you
is
go.
a
there is a
terrorist
lot
to you?
of new
Why can't
information
we
now
send the
coming
Navy
out of
SEAls
Israel.
after the
The
terrorists?
new information is that when they broke through the wall and started this horrendous
Oh,
attack,
there's a wall for
there
you.
was
That's
not
the wall
just
for you.
Hamas. There were a lot of Palestinians, no Hamas people,
That's
but
right.
Palestinians
Hey,
who
hey,
joined them. They were raping women,
They
taking hostages.
wanted this.
They are just as guilty
Masha,
as
you-
Hamas.
you
You're
don't
not going
you
to
don't
eliminate an entire
They
population
want
of
this. Now
Palestinians.
they're going to get it.
There has to
don't-
be a practical solution. Palestinian state.
No,
Israeli
no,
state,
too late.
And the elimination
Baby,
of Hamas.
that's
You're
not what
late.
I have a solution.
You're late.
You guys don't.
Your
Your solution doesn't work anymore. You're
They
late,
don't
baby.
want that.
It's
Then
done.
tell
They
me
don't
what
wanna
works
fight.
better than my
Haven't you
solution.
been
And
to a
I'm
bar
listening.
before?
Solution: all Palestinians are out of that land.
Nick,
that
this
land,
is what happens when you
see, if
spend
that
too much time
land
at the
would be
country
like
club. You know what I mean?
Canada,
I'm very upset.
Canada can host 5
Yes,
Palestinians and 6 Israel and all that stuff. But this land is very tiny. There is no space for two.
So you criticize Russia for invading Ukraine, but you want to wipe
Yes.
the Palestinians off the face of the earth.
After October
Appalled.
7th,
That's
yes.
Because
rude.
they invaded
After
Israel.
October 7th, yes. All
They invaded
Palestinians,
Israel.
Hamas,
Ukraine didn't
out.
invade
I
Russia.
believe in the
Period.
equal
Or
dignity
be
of all
killed.
persons, and I believe in giving the Palestinians and the Israelis a home where they can coexist.
They can
Well,
I do
good,
too.
good for you. Stand on your ivory tower and say all that. But here's
It's
what's
better
going
than
down.
being in a country club.
The beast of the East, the beast of the Middle East, is going to eradicate Hamas out of the Gaza Strip and won't allow them to sit there and shoot rockets 3,500 a day. Because if I was the head of Israel, that's exactly what I would do. And that's exactly what Netanyahu is going to do. And you know what? The people in Hamas and Palestine, they wanted this. So now they got it. Okay. Or they're going to get it. Okay. So you get what you want. It's like, hey, Adam, have you ever been to a bar? There's a lot of people go to bars and they want a bar fight. That's what they go to the bars for, you know? Okay, these people want this fight. Now they're going to get it.
A lot of Palestinians don't want that bar fight. They want their own land.
They joined Hamas. They
They
joined Hamas to mutilate babies and
Hey,
to rape
Sasha, I'm
women.
with you.
They did.
We
They
should eliminate Hamas, but we're not going to eliminate the Palestinian
No.
people. They should
Okay.
coexist.
Okay.
They should each have
First,
their own
okay.
land.
Hamas will be eliminated, period. Hostages will be freed, as many as possible, but hopefully they will.
As they should be.
They should be. So why doesn't Hamas start with, here are all your hostages? I'm surprised that
Palestinian people do not have hostages. Hamas and Palestinian people,
Who is this?
completely different things.
Bravo!
You have to stop saying, Sasha, you keep going on this rant and trying to say the Palestinian people are Hamas. They are not.
Go for
Hamas
it.
is a terrorist organization. The Palestinian people are separate.
Yes, go. Go, stop. Why did you stop you? Go.
So you're in favor of genocide against the Palestinians, but you criticize the Russians. The moral inconsistency is appalling. We need a
No, I never
Palestinian
said
state,
that.
Hamas eliminated,
Adam,
and a robust Israel
You
that
don't
is
listen.
recognized for its right to
You don't
exist.
listen. Israel
Nick, he's
said, look,
starting
if you
again.
don't want genocide, get bloody out of Gaza. Okay? It's really simple. If you want to fight, you stay in the bar and fight.
That, Nick, that is ridiculous. I have to stop
Thank
you
Tony.
there.
It's about time.
You're saying the craziest thing as well. Nick,
Let
you're
me
telling me,
go.
for
Just-
example, if you feel that, oh my gosh, that you're telling 1.1 million people that they should leave, or else, hey, you know, we're going to kill you anyway.
He's 100%
Genocide is a
right.
war crime.
Time to
That
leave.
is a
100%
war
right.
crime.
Nice.
Time to leave. It's no war crime. It's war.
It is a war crime. Look it up. It's actually there. That's why people were upset at Israel for saying you have to move 1.1 million people now. That is a war crime that they were talking
And
about.
NATO is the next organization we're
Oh,
going to wipe off.
My friends, listen to me. Israel is independent state. It will do everything in its power to protect its citizen. And this is the business of Israel and nobody else. And there will be, remember, there will be no Holocaust 2. Never again.
Sasha, nobody's asking for a Holocaust 2. Israel does have a right to protect itself and its citizens, but not to commit genocide against the Palestinian people. It does not have that right. Hamas is a terrorist organization. The Palestinian people are different from Hamas. The fact that you keep wanting to say Hamas and Palestinian people are the same shows how bigoted you are.
As Bill Clinton said, I still believe in a place called hope. And hope
Yep.
is a Palestinian state recognizing Israel's right to exist and wiping Hamas out. They have to coexist and be respected with equal dignity and protection under the law.
Exactly.
Adam, you know something about real politics. I hope you do. From the point of real politics, there is Israel, extremely strong and successful country.
Yes.
There are poor Palestinians with no state, no industry, no economy.
Right.
This country, by designation, cannot attack Israel. It's a nonsense.
Well, I think that's your first mistake right there.
They
Sasha.
will be punished.
Excuse
The
you.
punishment will be horrible, but that's what
Okay.
happened when a
If
little.
my solution is bad, give me yours. I'm listening.
My
I
solution.
love Adam's solution.
My solution
I
is
really
very
do.
simple. The Hamas or Palestinians or both they have to immediately release unconditionally all hostages.
They don't
Number
have to do
one.
anything.
What?
They don't have to do anything.
Really? They will be all killed. They will do so simply because they will
give
be
somebody else a
killed.
chance to say something for
If
2
they
minutes?
will not release hostages in the
Can
next
you
2
say
days,
something?
there will
Can
be
you-
attack. After I finish, there will be an attack, annihilating attack, destroying all Hamas.
You've been
There will be
screaming
a
for
lot
15
of
minutes.
collateral damage already.
Seriously.
This is
No.
the Sasha Ukraine against Palestine
Well, it
show.
sounds like he's an avid also.
Sasha's against the Palestinians. I'm not against the genocide. I am not. So
You're
go
not
ahead.
against
Patricia,
genocide?
Go ahead.
You're not against genocide?
Go ahead, Patricia.
Sorry, Kim, did you just say you weren't against genocide or you are against genocide?
I am against it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sasha, I heard you make a mistake that I think
I am.
a lot of people make, and that is you called Palestinians a state, and they have not had a state since prior to
That's right.
1948, when Israel was unilaterally declared a state. That's a first thing. Second of all, this has been an occupation. You're correct. They are the third largest military in the world. And the Palestinians are poor people. This is what happens in an apartheid state and a marginalization. And you should understand that, being from the former Soviet Union and being where you're from. It's just, you don't marginalize people like this, and you don't treat people like this.
Patricia, just facts.
No.
Just let me finish this time.
Of course.
I think what unfortunately what happened in this war, this war didn't start October 7th. It started over 75 years ago when Zionists decided that this would be a good place for them to set up.
It was United Nations decided, not Zionists.
No, they did not
I
decide.
will have to correct you. I will not allow you to spread your lies over the public network, okay? It was United Nations who designated country for Israel and country for Palestinians or
rude.
Arabs. And what happened next day? 5 Arabs.
Sasha, let her finish, please.
No, I will not let her finish. I don't
Sasha, we let you finish. Let her finish. Sasha, please.
Sasha,
lying here. Say exactly the word.
Sasha,
Sasha,
let her finish.
people have a right.
I'm well aware of the Balfour Declaration, but the Zionist Proclamation stopped way before that. And there were already people being chased out of the area. Now, look, we are where we are today, and that does not mean genocide or killing people. Israel's been trying to move them into Jordan and Egypt and all other places, 3 million people for the last 5 million before this, for the last 75 years. I think the situation really needs to, we really need to think about what kind of world we want. And if this happens, that gives someone else permission to do it at another time, including the good old US of A. So I really think we need to take a deep breath, put our emotions down a little bit, and think about how we can live in a better society with each other. And I am very supportive of Ukrainians, Sasha, and I think that that's another situation where we really need to have a better future for people. And, otherwise I could sit here and go, oh yeah, Russia's strong, Russia's great. Why don't they just go in, and those Ukrainians were Russia's anyway, and that's just nonsense. So
Patricia,
let's just think about how we can move forward for the future to make society better for us.
I agree with the 2 states. And
Okay,
some
you agree.
people-
Thank you. Thank you.
Now it's too
Let
late.
me tell you something, that Ukraine is a very, very unique fact of geopolitics, which is promoted by Professor John Mearsheimer. And he was saying is that, Russia is huge, powerful, and big. Ukraine is small and weak. So Ukraine has to get up in the morning every day and say, oh, Mr. Russia, what do you want me to do? You want me to jump or prepare to you Eggs Benedict or maybe some other nice things. Now, Ukraine defied all that and started to fight, and largely successfully. And each day, as I said, in the last several days, at least 1,000 Russian soldiers are dying, are being killed in Ukraine.
That's
So
horrible.
this is, from your point of view, not from mine.
Poor Mr. Putin.
Well, you can put the Palestinians in that situation too. From their point,
okay, let's leave it aside.
NATO should be ashamed of itself.
no, it's not any different. That's where the misconception. We treat every other conflict like this.
Yeah, so invaders are being killed in Ukraine. Okay, so now here Hamas comes. So Hamas essentially, because here is Israel strong, big, powerful.
Do you know where Hamas came from?
And here's a Hamas, not so powerful and not so big. So they wanted to defy the real politics and show how little weak Hamas can defeat big, strong, and powerful Israel. So they had to create Ukrainian scenario too. Well, guess what? It doesn't work all the time. Sometimes it just simply doesn't work. So Hamas.
It doesn't work in Ukraine. What do we do with the Ukrainians? Should we just send them off?
Ukraine, they will evict all Russia's invaders from the territory of Ukraine. And that would lead to collapse of Russia's government. Putin is already, he's hardly
You sound like a lot of Palestinian friends of mine who feel the same way.
It will be a collapse of Russia. It will be split into 7, 8.
I mean, this hostility to Russia, I mean, this is so rude.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's so rude. You know, okay.
Mr. Putin has been through enough.
Yeah, Mr. Putin. Okay, Adam, help him. Send him some money. Do something about it.
And it's such a beautiful country.
It is so beautiful country, but first it has to.
I want to die in Moscow.
Yeah, you'll do that.
You probably will. You go there. I don't want to go there.
I mean, have you ever heard the Russian national anthem? It's beautiful.
Yes, it
is.
Is it better than U.S.?
Yes.
Yeah, the Russians are very beautiful people, and they have some beautiful culture and beautiful art, and just very passionate. But just because their leaders are all about hate and war and territory doesn't mean all the people are like that. It doesn't.
Well, some of the polls show that Putin has anywhere from 75 to 80% of support from Russians.
Yeah, wouldn't you support the guy with the gun? I would support the guy with the gun.
So same thing with Hamas. So Hamas is being supported probably by 100% of Palestinians because of the
gun. That is incorrect, Sasha.
Do you have correct figures?
That is, Sasha, you just made up an arbitrary number to, again, toss in the Palestinian people with Hamas. Do you realize? Because you keep jumping back to history. Hold on, Sasha, you keep jumping back to history. Now, Patricia, please correct me if I'm wrong. Now, in was it 2006 or was it 2005 when the Hamas leader got voted in? But then he also killed off his opponents. Put basically anybody who was against him, he murdered them.
So did Putin. What's the difference between Putin? Adam, you're not defending.
So wait a second. You just
Blackbeard did the same thing. The stories get bigger and bigger and bigger wherever you go.
So again, you had this hostile takeover of that area, and it actually wasn't won by 100%, as you keep saying. His actual victory, or the Hamas leader who actually became the head. So he didn't win by 100%, as you keep claiming. What he ended up doing, of course, he won. Then he killed off these people. Then basically the Hamas hostile takeover of that government there, that created a problem for the Palestinian people, as the Palestinian people were now in fear. Now, Patricia, help me out on here. If I'm wrong, please correct me.
No, I know in the elections time, because the PLO was really not helping or moving forward anything with the relief from the occupation, that Hamas did run democratically and was elected into as the new leadership democratically. In fact, they were going through discussions with the PLO to merge efforts in order to, at least start trying to build a viable state of Palestine. But of course, that was inhibited by both Israel and the U.S. And the U.S. overthrew the elected Hamas government and put the PLO back into power.
Patricia, do you know who is Yasser Arafat?
I know.
He was a leader of PLO, considerably one of the most successful freedom fighters in all.
You know what, Sasha? You know what the difference between Arafat and Rabin, or Arafat and Sharon is? You know the difference between?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. When
One-
Arafat passed away,
One
he
line.
left $2 billion fortune, and neither of the Israeli politicians doesn't have even close to that. This is a difference between a freedom fighter Arafat and Israeli leaders. Okay?
You know, during the creation of the state of Israel, there were plenty of Israeli terrorist gangs and groups. So the King David Hotel was blown up, things like that, which a lot of British died, and there was a lot of problem there.
Patricia, you're right. And
So-
Israel could not be maybe successful. They were lucky they became successful.
Yeah, the difference.
So now Hamas turn. Prove it. Show.
So hold on, Sasha. So now we've got a little bit of history where Hamas comes into power.
Just
And
shut
then,
up.
hold on, Sasha. And so now we have a situation. We have a situation where, for example, you're asking for the Palestinian people to stand up and fight for themselves, yet you will not support the Palestinian people at all.
Looking over others, okay? Learn how to behave first. Okay?
Oh wow, Sasha, this irony
Yes.
coming from you talking about learn how to behave as you overtalk everybody.
You will never
You should be
learn
ashamed.
anything by talking, only by listening. Do you remember?
Then that shows why you don't know much about the situation because you talk over everybody.
So one of the things I learned is that the leaders of Hamas were actually prisoners of Israel for quite some time. And they did a lot of research and studying while they were in the prison before they were released. So Hamas leaders, and they pulled together. I think that they saw Gaza and the Palestinians being bullied and not being treated fair, and they in their minds stepped up to the plate to protect them and go against Israel. That's what I see. Because they spent years in prison.
Kim, you are
Israel
probably
prison.
right. But all
Yeah.
I'm saying is now is the time
right.
of war. The time for war is gone. Now it's a war. And now if
It is
Hamas has any
75
point
years
to prove,
Not
it's
now.
with the arms in hands. Fight! Fight for your freedom.
So
or
if
you
I
will be all
They've been
killed.
fighting since before 48 for their freedom. They've been fighting.
Not enough.
yeah,
Not enough.
Who has
well,
been
Sasha,
choosing one side over the other? I saw Queen Rania talk a bit tonight.
Well, this time the victory of Israel will be the final in this affair.
Yeah.
There will be no more uprising from
Can't we
our
talk about
Sasha,
President Trump?
Sasha, just to interject, when Patricia was talking, you overtalked her. Can you allow her to finish her point? Same thing with Adam as well. Let them finish. You keep telling me that I have to listen to learn. Please do the same.
Are you host of the show, Jetoni?
Sasha, please listen to the other guests.
They don't need your defense. They can stand for themselves. Trust
So
me.
you don't want to learn anything.
No.
Well,
Anybody
I
can
think
say
we
this.
need to we need to each take our turns and be respectful of the others'
Agreed.
point of views, experience, research knowledge. We're each coming from different backgrounds. I hope to bring Richard on here from Israel to give us some input of some of the politics that have been going on in Israel, some of the things that the U.S. haven't even heard about. But I mean, I think we each have something of value to add. Patricia, what were you going to say?
I don't remember.
Sorry.
That's great. I think people do have a right to self-determination as long, but they haven't, this lot of population just has not had a chance. And I think it's shameful that we're this far in our humanitarian existence and we're still colonializing and marginalizing groups of people to make ourselves stronger and feel better. So I think that we need to rethink ourselves a little bit and how we want to move forward in the world. That's all.
A brilliant man once told me that we are still just teeny tiny babies in the universe. We're still learning and growing, and we haven't overcome some of the issues that probably some of the rest of the universe has overcome. And the US is the youngest of all. So we've got our own dysfunctional issues. I mean, Mark brought up the issue, are we still a dysfunctional superpower? I mean, and then I take a look at some of the people who are uniting and working together like BRICS. I mean, are they posing a threat to us? And all we're doing is paying attention to all these other problems, and like there's smoke screens keeping us from focusing on what we really need to be focused on, and that's our own people, our own problems, and building ourselves. But we've got BRICS out there that has been slowly planning and building for 15 years, maybe even longer before that. And they're adding more people in 2024 to their organization. And majority of these people are not big fans of the US. And when they gather together, that's going to be over 40% of the oil in that group. So we got to be looking at other things politically. And it would be nice if the US would just tell Israel and the Palestinians and Hamas, just sit down, stop blasting each other, stop threatening each other, and let's try to work this out. Let's make another state over here. Let's make everything fair. Everybody, lick our wounds. We've all been hurt. We've all been damaged. We've all lost loved ones. But I do believe the hostages need to be returned on both sides. Both sides.
Oh, Israel took hostages on October 7th.
No, they just throw people in jail.
Never heard about that.
I think October 7th was a retaliation of the consistent bullying that Israel had been doing this past year.
Okay, there is a
I really
crime,
do.
There is a
I
crime,
think
and there is a punishment.
because you got to be a
Crime has
complete
already
idiot to
taken place
shoot
on October
missiles
7th.
at somebody who has
Now,
70,000
punishment.
military.
The punishment will happen no later than Thursday, okay? Because
From what
Israel cannot keep the huge army of 300,000 people with tanks, with artillery, the firefighters, everything is right on the border. They just can't keep it for much longer. Thursday is the last day when they will move on, and there will be complete crush of Hamas. Now, speaking about BRICS, BRICS is a stillborn anti-American organization which will be collapsed the next day. Putin will be dead one day. You know that?
I hope not.
And that day is coming. And once he's dead, the BRICS will fall apart.
What has
It's an
Putin ever done to
artificial
you?
organization which is put only anti-American idea among it, nothing else. It's anti-American organization. They are all countries, a little bit of here, Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa. What these countries have in common? They even don't belong to a single, either economical or political or civilization-wise. They have nothing in common, period, and they will not survive for long. The only country that I respect is Argentina, because they are soccer world champions. They have Messi. So this is the only one country I agree with.
And Austria, because they have great pastries. He's a funny guy.
I think I'm going to move to Colombia and just find that peaceful farm and enjoy the rest of my life.
Move to Iran.
Iran is a really pretty country.
It is. I love Colombia, and it's so peaceful and beautiful. People over talk about the things that go on there. Nothing happened when I was over there, so I was afraid to come back to America. So it's just one of those things.
Don't be so pessimistic about America. Go and read 3 times. 2 times probably will not do it, but 3 times is okay. It's Robert Gates. What's happening now in America? America will revitalize itself. It will go big time against left, against universities, against all these horrible things what's happening now in America. The elite, American elite, is already studying this article. they will go along with that because the only thing that will preserve America, nothing else. Now they have power, they have to use the power. What's the purpose of having power and not use it? That's not smart at all. America has to show to all worlds who is the boss. That's the only way to rule. Any other way, cut $1 trillion military budget, leave $50 billion to defend against Canada and Mexico, and hide somewhere in your states, in Utah or somewhere else, and say, well, we are not going to touch you. We are sorry. We are sorry. We are sorry. This is one vision of America. Another vision, America will rule the world. And to rule the world, you have to have power and use it. Full stop, period.
That sounds so authoritarian of you.
Yeah.
You know,
Sasha,
think-
what do you see as the future in the next 50 years? Do you think the U.S. is going to lose its superpower status?
Depends if you'll use its power and actually increase this military might. No, America will be still superpower, and maybe even more so than today. But certain things have to happen. If it will just lie down and say, well, maybe we will do this, or maybe we will do that, maybe we will send weapons to Ukraine, or maybe we will not send weapons to Ukraine. Oh, where is the Speaker of the House? Oh, we don't have Speaker of the House.
Well, I think we're going to divide ourselves from within. I think we're going to destroy ourselves from within.
That's a possibility. Agree.
Yeah. Great discussion, guys.
Thank you very much. We are at the top of the hour, and I want to thank everyone for joining us on World Politics, where things get a little heated on the show occasionally, but we're all here for the same reason. We want to see something good.
Kim, if not that, who would need this show? If everybody will say, oh, yeah, Israel is wrong, the Hamas is right, and this is, and let's be all peaceful and love each other, so on. Who's going to watch that show, Kim?
No, I agree. I mean, it would not be any fun at all, would it? We don't need a. So thank you, everyone. We love all of y'all.
Thanks.
Have a safe week, and we'll see you Thursday night.